What's wrong with you, bitch? Did you get attacked too? And she's crying. She said, oh my God, David. She said, if you had died tonight, me and the kids would have nothing. Then I knew it was serious. So I sat down on the bed next to her. And I reached in my pocket, I pulled some keys out that she'd never seen before. She said, what are those keys? And I gently placed them in her hands. I said, sweetheart, those are the keys to my safe deposit box. God forbid anything ever happen to me. But if it does, don't even worry about it. You and the kids have everything you need in that box. I've already taken care of it. And she was looking at them keys, and I could see her mind realize what we were actually talking about. And then she just started crying harder. And to be honest with you, that made me cry a little bit too. And we hugged each other real tight. Do you know this bitch looked in the box while I'm alive and well? Who does that? Oh my God. And then she was mad at me. She said, God damn it, David, I opened that box. I said, you did? She said, yes, I did. And there was nothing in there. I said, nothing? Oh. She said, nothing except your stupid joke book. I said, whoosh. I said, well, sweetie, look. If you tell those jokes exactly how they're written, you and the kids should be fine. They're really good jokes. She's like, good jokes? What is this shit? Come join me in my watery grave. No, you gotta roll your throat. Join me in my watery grave. Worst days of my fucking life. I couldn't take it. And I'm embarrassed about it now, but I can talk about it. You know what I did? It's fucked up, but I did do this. I waited. I waited for her to fall asleep. And when I waited a long time, she's Asian. I couldn't tell if she was asleep or not. I was looking at her. And when I was sure she was asleep, you know what I did? I stole the iPhone, took it downstairs and started trying out passwords to see if I could open it. I couldn't figure out the password. Then I remembered it's an iPhone. This shit has facial recognition. I was just like, oh. And that shit opened right up. And I saw a text message in there from a fella named Earl. I don't know anybody named Earl. I woke her up out of her sleep. I said, wake the fuck up. Who the fuck is Earl? And she said, David, what are you talking about? Oh, don't you play dumb with me, bitch. I done open your phone. Who is Earl? And she said, oh my God, David. That's gay Earl from the hair salon. I said, word, what am I, a dummy? How am I supposed to know this nigga is gay? And she was calm. She said, read his text and look at his pictures. I started reading the text. This fella sure does spell girl with a U a lot. And I switched over and looked at his pictures, and I couldn't believe it. This fella looked gay and still pictures. His mouth was open in every shot. And then I knew she was telling the truth. And then I felt like dumb. I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Here, take your phone. I'm sorry. Just go back to sleep. I'm sorry. I guess I just been insecure because all this cheating I've been doing. Good night. And she didn't let me leave. She said, well, since you want to wake a bitch up. And then she pulled my phone from under her pillow. I said, what the fuck? She said, who is this bitch in this picture? I said, how'd you open that phone? She said, it was easy, nigga. All I had to do was mash my nose and go like this. And it opened right up. I said, what the fuck? And beneath Broadway Studios is a nightclub. And the special was only supposed to be 30 minutes. And I got ready, I practiced, I did all the shit I was supposed to do. And the night that I taped, 20 minutes into my 30-minute set, I'll never forget this, music started blasting from the nightclub underneath. You could hear it real loud, and it fucked my whole show up, and I was devastated. I was a young man. I really believed in what I was doing, and I thought that my dream had been killed. So when I got off stage, I ran down the steps to the alley behind Broadway Studios and where the control trucks are parked, and I kicked that motherfucking door open, and I started yelling at all the producers. I was nobody in show business, just a guy that believed in us. I said, man, you fucked everything up. That fucking music, what the fuck were you thinking? And there was a guy who was a big-time producer, I ain't saying no names, and he stood up, and he said, hey, kid, sit the fuck down. He said, we didn't ruin anything. He said, we made a deal with that nightclub to not play music, and they didn't honor the deal. And I said, who didn't honor the deal? And he pointed to a guy. I'll never forget it. It was an old white man sitting in the Ford Taurus by himself. And he said, that guy right there. And I didn't waste no time or ask no questions. I went to that Ford Taurus, and I beat on that window, and I said, open the door, motherfucker, I want to talk to you. And that old man looked at me for 1 second and wisely drove the fuck off. And left me in the alley cussing at anybody who would listen. And 2 minutes later, literally 120 seconds later, couldn't have been any more than that, the doors of the kitchen in the alley of that nightclub underneath Broadway Studios flung open. And that old man was standing there, that same old man with reinforcements. He had 2 big goons with him, and he looked at me, and he was calm as a cucumber. He said, you, come here. I want to talk to you. I didn't know anything about the streets at this age. But I found out later in my life that these men were Russian mobsters. And I don't know what you guys know about the Russian mob, but these are the niggas that killed Denzel in Training Day. And all the producers knew what I was up against. They said, Dave, do not go in there. And I said, fuck y'all. And I walked right into that kitchen, and they closed the doors behind me, and it got dark as fuck in there. And I knew, I'm not dumb, I knew I was in a bad situation. But you have to understand, I believed in what I was doing, and I didn't give a fuck. Just kept cussing at these motherfuckers, telling them how they ruined my life. And that old man couldn't believe that I was talking all this shit. And as soon as I took a breath, he stopped me gently. He said, hey, kid, listen. Your friends lied to you. He said, we made a deal, but your friends never paid me. And when he said that, I realized I was locked in a kitchen. I realized he was telling the truth, which would make me wrong. And the very moment that I realized I was wrong, for the first time, I was afraid. You see, it's a funny thing if you believe you're absolutely right. You can get drunk off the feeling of how right you are. That's why gay people are so mean. But I didn't buckle. You guys would have been very proud of me. I was scared, but I didn't buckle. I said, well then, sir, I owe you an apology. But I believe that no matter what reason that music was playing, it ruined my life. And that old man looked at me with sympathy in his eyes. And he walked over to me and he gently placed his hand on my cheek, which I gotta tell you, is a very emasculating thing to do. I was standing there looking at this nigga's hand on my cheek like, And he said, "You are a real man." And he tapped me on my cheek. Real soft. Just like that. The doors opened back up. The light from the alley flooded into the kitchen. And I just walked out alive. I lived to fight another day. And I'm not lying. I dreamed tonight, this very night, as a 14-year-old boy, and I am living it as a 50-year-old man. My dreams are very strong. Today, I walked all around Washington. I used to be poor in this city, and all day people just said, hey, Dave, like they knew me personally, and I felt like I knew them. And I say to myself, my God, Dave, what a powerful dream. But then sometimes I feel regular. Just feel like myself. Maybe I'll smoke some weed and be in some nightclub and feel shy. But I'll look across a nightclub and I'll see some guy that no one's ever heard of. But this nigga worked all week and got bottle service. And there's bitches bringing Moet sparklers to him. And I picture in my mind he's Persian. He's doing some kind of weird Persian dance. And he got 6 bitches at his table because he got so much liquor. And they all call him saying, "Go Cena, go Cena." And I'll be looking across the room like, oh my God, I'm in that guy's dream. I can hear him telling his friends, "Hey, how was the club last night?" "Man, that shit was fantastic. I had bottle service. I seen Dave Chappelle across the club looking at me like, ooh, who is that?" And that's the trick to life. You have to be wise enough to know when you were living in your dream. And you have to be humble enough to accept when you're in someone else's. It's why I don't judge between Will Smith and Chris Rock. Because you guys look at them as big ideas, but I look at them as fellow dreamers. I can't judge between them because I see myself in both of them. I am Will Smith. I am the man that cannot take it anymore and will slap the shit out of the next person that says a crossword to me or somebody that I love. And I am Chris Rock. I am the man that can get slapped in front of the whole world and keep my composure so I don't fuck anything. I met this nigga at a party. I had no idea who he was. But the minute he walked in that party, I knew I was in his dream. Everybody in the party was another dreamer. Everyone was famous, but when that nigga walked in, he was dressed like C-3PO. He was shining. And everyone was, oh my God, there he is. That's my husband. I didn't know who he was. For some reason, I all them dreams, he walked right up to me. And he said, "I tried fixing in my video." I know what the fuck you talking about. What video? And he just looked at me like, "You know what video." And walked away. And I watched him walk away. I said, "This nigga's everything. I'll be doing." You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of when we was in grade school. Remember in grade school, the teacher would ask somebody what they want to be. Timmy, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And Timmy acted like he had an idea. He'd stand up, he said, "I want to be a fireman." And the teacher would say, but Timmy didn't mean it. Timmy said he wanted to be a fireman. Deep down, Timmy tried to fuck. By the time he's 14 years old, this nigga's full-blown pyromaniac, playing with kerosene and matches like a goddamn expert. I'm a jealous husband. It's true. Yeah, let me tell you something. One time I thought my wife was cheating on me. Yes, nigga, yes. That was one of the worst days of my fucking life. I couldn't take it. And I'm embarrassed about it now, but I can talk about it. You know what I did? It's fucked up, but I did do this. I waited. I waited for her to fall asleep. And when I waited a long time, she's Asian. I couldn't tell if she was asleep or not. I was looking at her. And when I was sure she was asleep, you know what I did? I stole the iPhone, took it downstairs and started trying out passwords to see if I could open it. I couldn't figure out the password. Then I remembered it's an iPhone. This shit has facial recognition. I was just like, oh. And that shit opened right up. And I saw a text message in there from a fella named Earl. I don't know anybody named Earl. I woke her up out of her sleep. I said, wake the fuck up. Who the fuck is Earl? And she said, David, what are you talking about? Oh, don't you play dumb with me, bitch. I done opened your phone. Who is Earl? And she said, oh my God, David. That's gay Earl from the hair salon. I said, word, what am I, a dummy? How am I supposed to know this nigga is gay? And she was calm. She said, read his text and look at his pictures. I started reading the text. This fella sure does spell girl with a U a lot. And I switched over and looked at his pictures, and I couldn't believe it. This fella looked gay and still pictures. His mouth was open in every shot. And then I knew she was telling the truth. And then I felt like dumb. I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Here, take your phone. I'm sorry, just go back to sleep. I am sorry. I guess I just been insecure because all this cheating I've been doing. Good night. And she didn't let me leave. She said, well, since you want to wake a bitch up, and then she pulled my phone from under her pillow. I said, what the fuck? She said, who is this bitch in this picture? I said, how'd you open that phone? She said, it was easy, nigga. All I had to do was mash my nose and go like this, and it opened right up. I said, what the fuck? Creepy. You know, I frequent strip clubs. I don't want, it's something I like to do. And my wife said I was creepy because I go to strip clubs by myself. Is that creepy? I think that's better than going with the fellas. That's creepy to me. Hey, y'all, let's all go to the strip club and get our dicks hard together as a group of friends. Drive home in a quiet car and not talk about any of the things we've seen or done. No, nigga, I go by myself. But my wife doesn't understand why I go to the strip club. It has nothing to do with sex, you understand? I need a pinch of sexual energy in a room to relax, but it's more about being out. I like the music. A few naked chicks in there, it just makes me feel good. But I'm not trying to socialize or meet anybody. Sometimes I go to the strip club and I bring a book. I do. And I sit right by the stage because the reading light is better. One time I went to a strip club, and this is weird. I don't know why. The stripper, for some reason, told me her real name. I know, so I left. She didn't understand. She was like, where are you going? I was like, good night, Deborah. God bless her, but my wife is mistaken about my life. She told me once she thinks my job is fun. My job is a job. I'm fun. The baby that she was carrying, my first child, I smoke weed with that nigga now. And what I remember most about that night was the pressure Before the show, I had to run out there on the avenue and hand out tickets to anybody who would take them because I couldn't even fill the fucking room. And boy, what a difference 24 short years makes. And right before that time, my father had died. He never lived to see me do it. And when he died, I was inconsolable. I thought I'd never smile or laugh again. And the only thing that got me out of that space was a comedian friend of mine, the late, great Norm Macdonald. That's right. Shout out to Norm. And what Norm did, which I'll never forget, is he knew that I was the biggest Jim Carrey fan in the world. Now, I'm not gonna go all into it, but Jim Carrey is talented in a way that you can't practice or rehearse. What a God-given talent. I was fascinated with him. And Norm knew that. And he called me up and he goes, Dave, he says, I'm doing a movie with Jim Carrey. Do you want to meet him? And I said, fuck, yes, I do. And it was the first time I could remember since my father died being excited. And the movie was called Man on the Moon. I didn't know any of this. And in this movie, Jim Carrey was playing another comedian I admired, the late, great Andy Kaufman. Yes, and Jim Carrey was so immersed in that role that from the moment he woke up to the time he went to bed at night, he would live his life as Andy Kaufman. I didn't know that. When they said cut, this nigga was still Andy Kaufman. So much so that everybody on the crew called him Andy. I didn't know any of that. I just went there to meet him, and when he walked into the room where we were supposed to meet, I screamed, Jim Carrey! And everyone said, no! Call him Andy. And I didn't understand. And then he came over and he was acting weird. I didn't know he was acting like Andy Kaufman, just like, hey, how you doing? And I was like, hello. Andy? Now, in hindsight, how fucking lucky am I that I got to see one of the greatest artists of my time immersed in one of his most challenging processes ever. Very lucky to have seen that. But as it was happening, I was very disappointed. Because I wanted to meet Jim Carrey, and I had to pretend this nigga was Andy Kaufman. Yeah, I'm not lying. I dreamed tonight, this very night, as a 14-year-old boy, and I am living it as a 50-year-old man. My dreams are very strong. Today, I walked all around Washington. I used to be poor in this city, and all day people just said, hey, Dave, like they knew me personally, and I felt like I knew them. And I say to myself, my God, Dave, what a powerful dream. But then sometimes I feel regular. Just feel like myself. Maybe I'll smoke some weed and be in some nightclub and feel shy. But I'll look across the nightclub and I'll see some guy that no one's ever heard of. But this nigga worked all week and got bottle service. And there's bitches bringing Moet with sparklers to him. And I picture in my mind he's Persian. He's doing some kind of weird Persian dance. And he got 6 bitches at his table because he got so much liquor, and they all call his name. Go Cena, go Cena. And I'll be looking across the room like, oh my God, I'm in that guy's dream. I can hear him telling his friends, hey, how was the club last night? Man, that shit was fantastic. I had bottle service. I seen Dave Chappelle across the club looking at me like, ooh, who is that? And that's the trick to life. You have to be wise enough to know when you were living in your dream. And you have to be humble enough to accept when you're in someone else's. It's why I don't judge between Will Smith and Chris Rock. Because you guys look at them as big ideas, but I look at them as fellow dreamers. I can't judge between them because I see myself in both of them. I am Will Smith. I am the man that cannot take it anymore and will slap the shit out of the next person that says a crossword to me or somebody that I love. And I am Chris Rock. I'm the man that can get slapped in front of the whole world. My composure so I don't fuck anything. Niggas having a very powerful dream. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of when we was in grade school. Remember in grade school, the teacher would ask everybody what they want to be. Timmy, what do you want to be when you grow up? And Timmy acted like he had an idea. He said, I want to be a fireman. And the teacher said, tell me that. But Timmy didn't mean it. Timmy said he wanted to be a fireman because deep down, Timmy's trapped in the point. By the time he's 14 years old, this nigga's a full-blown pyromaniac, playing with kerosene and matches like a goddamn expert. And then one night he goes downtown with his buddies, fucking around with fire, and burns a warehouse down. And he doesn't know it, but there's 13 migrant workers from El Salvador, and they're in that place, and they get trapped, and then they die in the fire. Isn't that a tragedy? Well, it's an accident. He's only 14 years old, but it's black. The rest of his life. Bring the fur. What about you, Billy? Billy, what did you do? And Billy stands up and he said, I want to be president of the United States. And he says, oh my God, Billy, that is a wonderful dream. And Billy means that shit. Billy does everything right. That motherfucker is great. Joint student government. He does extracurricular activities like choke fighters to make that name look good. He's on track to be president. But junior year, he whites. 16, he gets his girlfriend pregnant. He has to drop out of high school, make ends meet. But for him, local Walmart. By the time he's 20 years old, the motherfucker makes assistant manager at Walmart. If you know what, he gets up. I several years, I could be a manager. And if I could keep this up for 6 more years after that, I could even be a regional manager and have as many as 3 Walmarts under my control. Well, he's a big push guy. He sees that his path is long. So he kills himself. Mouth. What about you? What do you want to do? You go. I understand. I've never pitched a music. You choose yours. Always you expect it to true. Say it loud and proud. What you gonna be when you grow up? Little nonsense. That nigga stood up in front of the whole class. I want to be the gayest nigga that ever lived. I want to do a music video and slide down a stripper pole all the way to the depths of hell and suck the devil's dick at 10 o'clock on BET while all the kids are awake and can see me. Shockingly, that was the only dream that worked out. That's why I'm here tonight. The cities I built dreams that I live. Because I wanted to tell you all that they came true. And I wanted to thank you all for making the man that I am today. Yes, I am living a very powerful dream. Every time I come to this city, and I stand in front of you, I realize that, my God, man, this is not my dream. I only got 2. All right, the first impression's kind of dumb, but I like it. This is my impression. You ready? This is my impression of the founding fathers of America When the Constitution was being written, you ready? Here it goes. Hurry up and finish that Constitution, nigger. I'm trying to get some sleep. It's not bad, right? All right, the next one. The next one's a little harder. I want to see if you can guess who it is I'm doing an impression of. All right, let me get into character. You got to guess who it is, though. Okay, here it goes. Hey, if you do anything wrong in your life, and I find out about it, I'm gonna try to take everything away from you. And I don't care when I find out. Could be today, tomorrow, 15, 20 years from now. If I find out, you're fucking finished. Who's that? That's you. That's what the audience sounds like to me. That's why I don't be coming out doing comedy all the time, because y'all niggas is the worst motherfuckers I've ever tried to entertain in my fucking life. Oh. I'm goddamn sick of it. This is the worst time ever to be a celebrity. You're gonna be finished. Everyone's doomed. Then I'm begging you, don't watch it. It's fucking gross. I felt like HBO was sticking baby dicks in my ears for 4 hours straight. Really nasty shit. I don't want to know all these things. Turns out, Michael Jackson allegedly likes a long gander at the anus. So they said he stares at people's buttholes. That's what they said. That's how gross the documentary was. I'm gonna say something that I'm not allowed to say. But I gotta be real. I don't believe these motherfuckers. I do not believe it. But let me qualify the statement. I am what's known on the streets as a victim blamer. You know what I mean? If somebody come up to me like, Dave, Chris Brown just beat up Rihanna. I'll be like, well, what did she do? Dave, Michael Jackson was molesting children. Well, what were those kids wearing at the time? I don't think he did it. But you know what? Even if he did do it, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I mean, it's Michael Jackson. I know more than half the people in this room have been molested in their lives. But it wasn't no goddamn Michael Jackson, was it? This kid got his dick sucked by the king of pop. All we get is awkward Thanksgivings for the rest of our lives. You know how good it must have felt to go to school the next day after that shit? Hey, Billy, how was the weekend? How was my weekend? Michael Jackson sucked my dick. And that was my first sexual experience. If I'm starting here, then sky's the limit. I know it seems harsh, but man, somebody's got to teach these kids. There's no such thing as a free trip to Hawaii. He's gonna want to look at your butthole or something. You know why I don't believe it? You know why I don't believe it? Because if Michael Jackson's out here doing all this molesting, then why not Macaulay Culkin? Macaulay Culkin said in an interview that Michael Jackson never did anything inappropriate with him or even around him. Think about that shit. You know, I'm not a pedophile. But if I was, Macaulay Culkin's the first kid I'm fucking, I'll tell you that right now. I'd be a goddamn hero. Hey, that guy over there fucked the kid from Home Alone. And you know how hard he is to catch. My mind's telling me no. Going on stage, she goes, Dave, I'm working on a documentary about R. Kelly. Would you like to be in it? And I was like, nah, bitch, I'm cool. I went on stage, I just forgot about the shit. And then 2 years later, the documentary comes out, Surviving R. Kelly. And when it comes out, Dream's promoting the shit, and she keeps bringing me up. She said, I asked Dave Chappelle to be in my documentary, and he said it was too hot for TV. Bitch, I did not say that. It does not even sound like how I talk. Oh, that's too hot for TV? I would never say that shit. But I'm gonna tell you guys why I wasn't in the documentary. There's a very simple reason, and I cannot stress this point enough. The only reason that I didn't do it was because, and it's very important, I don't know this nigga at all. I don't know anything. I don't know anything that they don't tell me about. I don't hang out with this nigga, nothing. So what the fuck do I gotta be in the documentary for? This guy, R. Kelly, got another sex tape out now. Can you believe that shit? This guy makes more sex tapes than he does music. He's like the DJ Khaled of sex tapes. Another one. Like, damn, nigga. It's a lot of tapes. The new one's so bad that they didn't even show it. I've never seen anything like this. The prosecutor in Chicago came out in a press conference and read to the media a transcript of a sex tape. Have you ever heard of such a thing? This nigga read the sex tape. And it was so bad that R. Kelly sounded guilty in the transcripts. It's fucking amazing. 16 times the girl's age was mentioned. Isn't that crazy? This motherfucker is an idiot. He was fucking her like, yeah, this is the best 14-year-old pussy I've ever had in my life. And she was like, you like this 14-year-old pussy? He's like, oh yeah, I love this 14. I'm like, man, you need to shut the fuck up. You gotta give your lawyer something to work with. You're supposed to be on the tape like, this is the best 36-year-old pussy I've ever had in my life. And then your lawyer gonna be like, Your Honor, clearly my client thought that this woman was 36. As he mentioned some 16 times in the tape. They gonna know you lying though, you know what I mean? Everybody knows no such thing as good 36-year-old pussy. Doesn't matter what I say. And if you at home watching this shit on Netflix, remember, bitch, you clicked on my face. They even got poor Kevin Hart. Can you imagine such a thing? Kevin Hart, let me tell you something. It was Kevin Hart's dream to host the Oscars. That's what he told me. And I remember when he told me, because I was thinking to myself, well, it's an awfully strange dream for an African American. kind of nigga dreams of hosting the Oscars. Kevin did, that's who. And he did it. Against all the odds, Kevin became the most famous comedian this world has ever seen, and he got the job that only one black man before him had had. He was gonna host the 80th Oscars. And I don't know what you know about Kevin, but I know Kevin Hart is damn near perfect. As close to perfect as anybody I've ever seen. In fact, Kevin is precisely 4 tweets shy of being perfect. 10 years ago, Kevin had made some very homophobic comments. And I'm not gonna repeat what he said because this is Atlanta. You know what I mean. I'm sure there's a lot of gay men here tonight with their wives. Far be it from me to offend anybody. All right, I'll tell you what he said. But just remember, these were not my words. These were Kevin's words. It was a long time ago. And I'm paraphrasing because I'm not good at telling other people's jokes. Okay, Kevin said that if his little son was demonstrating or exhibiting homosexual behavior around the house, that he'd chastise him. He'd say, hey, that's gay. And he'd say, smash a dollhouse over that child's head. Ooh, the gay community was furious. And I don't blame them. I got a lot of gay friends. And all 100% of them all told me fucking horror stories about the shit they had to go through just to be themselves. Crazy, crazy stories. And in all those stories, like I say, not one of them has ever mentioned anything like their fathers smashing a fucking dollhouse over their head. Because clearly Kevin was joking. Think about it. You would have to buy this nigga a dollhouse to break it over his head in the first place. Was that sound right? Is anybody going to do that? Gay community was upset and then put so much stuff on Academy of Vocational Sciences that they went to Kevin and said, if you don't apologize to that community, you does not host these Oscars. And they Kevin said, he fucking And then he went on every talk show in America and apologized for 6 weeks. Kevin fucked up. I understand the mistake he made because I've made the same mistake early in my career, many years ago, 15 years ago. When I was doing fellowship, there's the thing. And a delicious meal with outstanding people. That man with that job hung himself in a luxury suite of France. They say 2000 party over, oops, out of time. So tonight I'm gonna party like it's 1999. I know a nigga at high school that was an urban genius. This motherfucker's grades were so good, he got all the way from the hood to an Ivy League school with a full scholarship. There, motherfucker got himself in one of the best law schools in the country. And when he was in law school, he met a woman, fell in love. Gonna get back. Man, save that bitch for later in your life. But he's in love. He didn't listen to me. He married her. Father wasn't long. And the sad thing is, they got divorced. Father wasn't lost. He was street cat in the hood. The man had nothing. And that bitch took half of that.
And then I just never saw him for years. And then 2 years ago, I was home to DC, doing some shopping, trying to buy my sons some socks, Foot Locker. I go to Foot Locker, guess who's the man? That man. Dressed like a referee, the whole shit. Motherfucker is 45 years old. We went out drinking that night, just trying to catch up. And he said he's been with this mother for like 10 years. He's trying to get back on his feet. That's not the point of the story. The point of the story is never curse this nigga Joseph. He's alive and well in D.C. I even suggested to him that he should try out. Like, I don't know, man. Nobody for what it looks like from the outside. I don't know what the fuck going on inside. I have a great life. It's not a perfect life. It's good. It's not just like an above ground pool. You ever seen one of them? It's a pool.
So in that spirit tonight, I thought I'd start. My wife's friend, Stuart, told me that. My wife has a lot of gay friends. Stuart's their leader. She has a lot of gay friends. And I don't like them. Not because they're gay, I'm just judging them on the merits of their character. They're just not nice dudes. They're rude house guests. They're sitting on my couch, giggling with my wife, eating my mother macaroons. And I come in, they act like the party's over. Hey, Stuart, what's going on? This guy talks to me the way a cat would speak if a cat could talk. Hi, David. He always wants to have some kind of gay political argument. The last one was about a petition in federal court to take the words husband and wife out of the law. I said, well, why would you want those words out the law? He said, because it discriminates against same-sex couples. I was like, niggas, please save me the semantics. Just trust me, take your chips and get the fuck out of the casino. You're about to crap out. Go outside, talk that over amongst yourselves, and whichever one of you is gayer, that's the wife. I've never seen somebody in the office so high with the most just basic fucking solutions. We should not let any more Muslims in the country till we can figure out what's going on. Did he just say, figure out what's going on? Who doesn't know how to do basic math? Let's count it out. There's been 17 mass shootings in the United States. 4 of them were done by Muslims. None of those 4 Muslims were from any of the 7 countries in your stupid ass original band. The other 13 shootings were done by the Tiki Torch whites. And you don't see me trying to ban white people from the show to keep the rest of the audience safe. It's a fucking terrible idea because it's mean and it's racist. And most importantly, if there were no white people here tonight, I might leave this bitch with $1,800. This man needs to realize that we all need each other. And that's why we will never, ever be able to beat China. Because everybody in America is racist and everybody in China is Chinese. This guy, R. Kelly, got another sex tape out now. This guy makes more sex tapes than he does music. He's like the DJ Khaled of sex tapes. Another one. Like, damn. The new one's so bad that they didn't even show it. 16 times the girl's age was mentioned. Isn't that crazy? This motherfucker's an idiot. He was fucking her like, yeah, this is the best 14-year-old pussy I've ever had in my life. And she was like, you like this 14-year-old pussy? He's like, oh yeah, I love this 14. I'm like, man, you need to shut the fuck up. You gotta give your lawyer something to work with. You're supposed to be on the tape like, this is the best 36-year-old pussy I've ever had in my life. And then your lawyer gonna be like, Your Honor, clearly my client thought that this woman was 36. As he mentioned some 16 times in the tape. They gonna know you lying though, you know what I mean? Everybody knows no such thing as good 36-year-old pussy. It is wild, bro. Where you from, man? Where you from?
New York.
You from, what, Manhattan? Brooklyn. You are from Brooklyn, aren't you? You look like you can rob somebody with a hammer. Brooklyn niggas rob you with shit they find around the house. I just got stabbed with a toothbrush. This nigga must be from Brooklyn. I'm fucking around. I think, okay, again, of all those letters, the T has the toughest road ahead. In fact, I think the T should stand for tough road ahead. They've got the longest mental gap to bridge. That's all I'm saying. Because, you know, whenever I see one of them T's on the street, I don't mind them, but I'll be like, man, I miss Bruce. I'm sorry, guys. I'm 42. I remember Bruce Jenner. Before the Kardashians, before all that, this motherfucker was a white American superhero. It was amazing. He was beating Africans at track and field. We'd never seen anything like it. He was on my cereal box growing up. You know how much of that cereal I ate? Nigga, I didn't know he was gonna do that. I knew before you guys knew. I heard things on the street in Hollywood. You know, you just be out, see people. Hey, what's up, Kanye? Why the long face? Nigga, you'll see. I got 2 mother-in-laws now. There was a big dance coming up in the middle school. I was 12 years old. I said, Dad, can I go to the dance? He said, of course you can go to the dance. I want you to get out and meet some more kids. I said, great. It costs $3 to get in. And my dad said, ooh, sorry, son, I don't have it. I was like, what the fuck? You don't have $3? Well, then how are we alive, Dad? Dad said, if you want to go to the dance bad enough, I'll tell you what, there's some money in the change jar, get the money from there. I was 12 years old. That's what I did. I showed up to the dance early. There's a long line of kids waiting behind me while I'm at the door trying to count out 300 pennies to get inside. I will never forget this shit as long as I fucking live. Oh, man, you know, if you've been poor, you know what that feels like. You ashamed all the time. Feels like it's your fault. And all them kids was laughing, ha, ha, ha. Look how poor Dave Chappelle is. Like, when I think back at it, that's really the only time in my life that I ever thought to myself, I should kill everybody at school. No, this is what I mean. Okay, look, okay, you're an Asian dude. No, I say this with no disrespect, but we're all Americans, right? And we can agree that America has a huge body count all over the world, but nowhere more than Asia. Literally, if you look at history, recently, we have bombed the masculinity out of an entire continent. We dropped 2 atomic bombs on fucking Japan, and they've been drawing Hello Kitty and shit ever since. There's a lot of lady boys in the wake of our bombs, and I know these things because my wife is Asian. She's Filipino. All right, well, okay, so that explains it. Now you know why you see me at all those Filipino events. I'm not there picking up pussy, I'm dropping some off. I take my wife to all that shit. I took my wife to see Pacquiao fight Mayweather. We sat ringside, okay? That was a quiet car ride home. That's what that was.
That's my problem. I can't handle pressure. Sometimes pressure make me talk different. I'm serious. You ever have like that social pressure? You ever talk to somebody who's fake and they make you fake? Like, they come and be like, hey, how you doing? You're like, fine, how are you? And you're like, I don't even talk like that. I get sick of that shit. I do. It just makes me sick. Sometimes I'll talk crazy just to make myself feel better. You ever do that? Just start talking like crazy. Like, you ever hear this voice? Man. That's how bad guys used to talk in the 40s. In the old days. See, I talk like that. Not all the time, but if somebody put the pressure on me, fuck it, I gotta cut loose. Like the police pull me over, I'll talk crazy. Son, do you know why we pulled you over? Nah, because I'm black, see, that's right. Nah. It's not illegal to talk like that. How do they know I don't talk like that every day? Stop talking like that. Stop talking like white copper. Nah.
I see my age in my children. I came home from the road. This is not long ago. I've been gone for, if you can picture, I was gone for weeks and weeks. And when I came back, nobody was home. Now, one person in my family thought that maybe I'd like to see them when I got back. Like, they knew when I was coming back, but they just weren't home. And that shit was a wake-up call. But an empty house, that's some cold shit. And I went into my oldest son's room. I was like, hello, hello. He was gone. And I'd never done this to him before, but for some reason I just did it. I just looked through his shit. Just to see who this motherfucker was becoming. And I found these notebooks and I started going through the notebooks and there was all this wonderful poetry in them. And then I looked through his drawers and I opened up his middle drawer and I found this rolling paper. And I looked down at them papers like, oh, that's where that poetry's coming from.